Hello, my name is Bruna Tazi, and today I will be doing a critical reflection on my 2-minute film opening for my film Misunderstood. And throughout this reflection process, I will be discussing the genre conventions of this film, how it represents different social groups, how it engages with my target audience, how I integrated technologies, as well as my distribution practices. I would like to start off by discussing my company's logo, which is Btazi Films, named after my blog's URL, btazifilms.blogspot.com. And the reason why I decided to use this specific design for my company's logo is because my main character in my film has Asperger's syndrome, which is a condition on the autism spectrum, and the symbol for autism is a blue puzzle piece. So I decided to do a company logo of a world filled with blue puzzle pieces because I wanted to bring I don't want my film to only showcase a romantic drama of a young girl with Asperger's learning what it's like to fall in love and learning what it's like to feel these feelings, but I also want this film to bring awareness to kids and adults and people with Asperger's as well as people with autism. I want there to be more of a recognition to this. So that's why I decided to use this specific design for my company logo. For the website I used to create this logo is a website called Designmantic, which is a free logo creating website. All you have to do is create your company's name and then select the type of industry that you're using. For instance, I used advertising and media, and then you click show your designs. After that, all you do is you look for the design that you want, and if you have a specific design in mind, all you have to do is type it up in the search bar, and then it'll give you, like for instance, I typed in puzzle piece, and then it gave me multiple different options of designs with puzzle pieces in them. So now I will show you my film and then comment on it, I guess, throughout the process. My film starts off with the company's logo, and then it starts off with credits showcasing who the film is by. And then I start off with a close-up shot of a clock ticking, as well as the film's title on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and the clock is on the left third of the screen. The reason as to why I decided to use a clock as my film's opening is because throughout the entire film you can hear a clock ticking, because my main character is in a place where she does not want to be, and you can tell that she doesn't want to be there through the different shots and angles that I will showcase later on. You can tell that she doesn't want to be there, and the ticking of the clock shows her anxiety and shows how she just wants to get out of there as soon as possible, and the ticking of the clock and the sound also showcases this. And I will get to sound later on in this presentation, because that was a very big portion of my project actually. So I start off with a close-up of a clock, and then I switch to it's not pausing, a point of view shot of my main character looking down at her feet. And then this shot transitions into a close-up shot of my character looking down at her feet. So the point of view shot transitioning to the close-up shot showcases that there is a difference in the entire scene between what is actually going on and from what she thinks is going on. So, for instance, there is her psychiatrist who was presented later on in the screen, in the scene, talking to her, and she is just looking down at her feet throughout most of this scene. And I used the different angles to portray this. So she's looking down at her feet with a point of view shot, and she's looking down at her feet with a close-up shot, and then we go back to the clock to showcase that she does not want to be there, and she just wants to leave, and I was using this clock to showcase the sense of anxiety that she is feeling. After this, we go to a medium shot of her psychiatrist talking to her, asking her, why are we here, what is going on, and whatever, and all that. And throughout this process, I don't know if you've noticed, there is credits going on throughout the bottom of the screen, showcasing my actors' names, Sarah Romstown and Guliel Gonzalez, and then my next actor, Alfred Torres, as well. So we keep transitioning from this medium shot to the close-up shot to the point of view shot, and then we keep going back and forth, because then again it showcases how her reality is different from actual reality. So and I'll get more into that with sound later on, because the sound is what really portrays that. So she's just there looking down at her feet, and then the doctor is calling her, asking her if she can hear him, if she's all right, and she's still looking down at her feet, and you can see and then in this scene, she is looking up finally at her doctor, who is calling her, but in the actual film, which you can't hear here, you can hear that his voice is in slow motion. So she's there physically, but she is not there mentally. Mentally, she's somewhere else. And in this close-up of his lips, you can see that he's saying her name, Sophie, Sophie, can you hear me? But in sound, which again I will discuss, she is talking in her head, complaining about every single thing, because she is since people with Asperger's, they have extreme OCD, and they have like social they're very socially awkward. And so in this scene, you can if you hear the film, she is discussing about how the walls that she saw in the previous scene are different color. This wall is a different shade of white than that wall, and so she is complaining in this next scene, and you can tell that like she's not paying attention. She doesn't want to be here, and that's how you can tell. And then the scene goes back to it switches back to a close-up shot of her looking up around the room, not paying attention to her doctor, and then another point of view shot of her. And then with sound, again, you hear her voiceover of her complaining about more things, such as the smiley face being off-center slightly, but it is off-centered, and she does notice that, and it is bothering her. And then again, let me remind you that the clock is still ticking throughout this entire scene. And then we keep switching back and forth, and then she goes back, she looks, and then it goes back to a point of view shot of the main character finding this picture of our psychiatrist with his significant other, and this leads into a flashback of when she met someone a few weeks before that made her feel a certain way, which comes into the whole romantic genre aspect of my film. The whole purpose of the romantic genre aspect is to showcase that the whole purpose of a romantic genre in general is to showcase a romance that can't be successful because of anything. In Titanic, it's a romantic genre, and it's one of the most successful romantic genres of all time. And it's a story about a girl who falls in love with someone, but they can't be together because of their different social classes. In this case, she learns what it's like to fall in love with someone, but it's hard for her because she doesn't know how to feel these feelings, so it's hard for her to portray them. And then with this flashback scene, you can't really tell with only visuals, but in the scene I did use sound. I did use music, which I created myself through a program called Reason, which is right down here, which is just a piano melody, which indicates that it's a flashback, and it plays throughout the entire flashback from here all the way. And then the flashback has barely any speaking except for him talking to her, asking her if she's alright, and then him telling her name, and then her just giving him random like facts because since she has Asperger's, she just tells him just random things, whatever's in her head she tells him. And yes, so basically that's what happens. And then after this flashback, the music fades away, and we come back to her in the psychiatrist's office remembering, and then her just looking at her psychiatrist, talking to her, and you can hear him speaking this time, but you can still hear that ticking of the clock because she still wants to get out. She doesn't want to be here. and then it just fades into black into the title of the screen. That was what I did with my film, with different shots and angles, and the reason as to why I did them. For editing purposes, I used a software called Movie Maker. Since I have Windows, I don't have a Mac, so I used Windows Movie Maker, and it was a very helpful software for me to do my different transitions, my different cuts, and all of that, and it was very user-friendly. I really loved it. And then I went on into sound. Sound was probably the most difficult portion of my film, mostly because I didn't want to go to the hassle of emailing a bunch of people for simple sounds. So therefore I used a website called purpleplanet.com, which is a royalty-free music website, and they have a license that allows people to use their music for free as long as we mention them in our project. So thank you, Purple Planet, for letting me use your music. And I used a sound called Simple Tones only for the beginning to showcase this scene of my presenting my company's logo. That's all I used it for, but it was very useful, and I would like to thank Purple Planet for allowing me to do that. And then I used freesound.org, which is a music-free. It's also a music-free, a royalty music-free website. But this website has more of effects, and this is the website where I got the ticking of the clock as well. The ticking of the clock for my film. So thank you, Freesound. That was very helpful, and it helped me a lot. And then I used, as I stated before, Reason to create the piano medley of the piano melody for the flashback sound, for the flashback song. And then I used this little guy called Studio One, because what happened was my videos weren't, especially the scenes filmed outside, they weren't very consistent because of the sounds of the background noises that weren't consistent. So I had to edit my entire film onto Movie Maker, and then after I did that, I had to go into Studio One and extract the sound from the film, from the actual video, and then I had to do edits towards that sound. So I used Studio One, and it was very helpful. It was kind of a hassle, but it was very helpful towards me, for me. So thank you, Studio One. And I think this film will appeal to its intended target audience, which is teenage girls from the ages of around 16 to women to the ages 45, because it discusses the difference. It discusses a very serious topic, which is a young woman with Asperger's syndrome, which is a condition on the autism spectrum, which more older women would understand. It would interest them a lot more. And then has the romance aspect, which a lot of teenage girls just love, and it would be very intriguing towards them. And then I would distribute my film through different streaming websites, such as video streaming websites such as Netflix and Amazon, because those are the most well-known websites in the world, and so it could give my film a lot of recognition. And then I would also stream it like trailers and sneak peeks and such through social media websites such as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And I hope you guys enjoyed my film, and I hope you didn't get too bored of me talking in my critical reflection. So thank you so much, and have a great day.